have three choices, don't we? We can blame God. You're a mean God. And I've said that. I said, you're stinking mean. Or we can stop praying. Guess I've done that too. I said, you know, I had 30 people pumped up that someone was going to be healed and he wasn't. You know how embarrassing that was? I mean, I felt like a piece of garbage. I said, I am not going to put myself out like that again and be embarrassed. I don't care what you say, God. I'm the one here now. You're invisible. They see me, not you. They don't look to that invisible person. Oh, that's God's fault, isn't it? Yeah, that's right, man. Yeah, he's the one who had me do it, you know. It doesn't work like that. I was very embarrassed. So you have three choices. Blame God, don't pray, or keep praying. Now, I'm not going to tell you which one to do because I think there's seasons. I think as you experience all of them, it makes you a richer person. It really does. It helps you really when you're praying for somebody, see the person as the person. Does that make sense? Because you're not looking at yourself anymore. You've been too embarrassed, haven't you? I prayed a bunch of times. Nobody was here. You're embarrassed. So when you're praying for somebody, you're praying with trepidation. You're praying with like, man, I wish I wasn't the one they were seeing. It's not about you at that moment. It's not about you in that moment. And you know, when you're on TV, you can pick and choose and cut and slice and dice what people see. And they do that, not because they're mean or deceiving, but because they want to build up the faith of the community. And nobody wants to see somebody not getting healed, right? Some, you know, we got it. Okay, so disappointment, we have to deal with the disappointment here because that's a part of it. We're not God. We don't understand, but just keep praying. Dunamis, discernment, expectant faith, disappointment. So how do we do what we are asked to do? We do it here. We have something called the 5-step prayer model. And that's basically what's up. Someone comes up to you, what's up? What's wrong? How do I pray? You need the discernment, right? Pray. And then when you're done praying, ask them how they're doing. Dan gave it in a nutshell. He says, ask God what he's doing. And do that in a way that's loving and gentle. Quite concise. Like I said, whenever I watch people pray, and what I watch for is are they praying for the person or are they praying at the person? If they're praying at the person, they need some more mentoring. If they're praying for the person, I just trust God's going to use them to pray what that person needs. Amen? So our VX goals for 2009 are to double the church in size by the end of the year, which guess what? It's going to take all of you to do. And your simplistic goal is to pray that God would use you to help integrate one person into the life of the church by June. And remember, if you struggle with that goal and the numbers and stuff, just remember Jesus said, follow me. Our second goal is we want to learn how to worship through music as a church. Through celebration and through intimacy. And that's a goal. And some of you know that, right? Some of you know you're not the hand raisers and the jumpers and the dancers, right? That's where you need to focus. Some of you know you're not the quiet people listening to God. You know that's where you need to focus. And for the ones celebrating, you're going to feel like, oh, I'm making this up. Yeah, you are, kind of. You're saying, I'm going to jump and shout. Why? Because God is great. If you're not jumping and shouting, perhaps, I can't get into your heart, but perhaps you don't think God is as great as you say he is. And for those of you who are afraid of intimacy with God, perhaps you're really afraid to hear God because what he might say. Quit that high-paying job. Become a pastor. Right? Scary. Go to Ethiopia. Eat their food and love them. It could be very scary. Lead a session group. Would you finally use your musical talent? Would you grow in your musical talent? Making sense? I want you to do communion. And I know you don't know how to speak English, But I still want you to lead us in communion. Guess what? It's scary, isn't it? I've been on the other side in another culture where I was supposed to lead worship in another language. In front of me sat 5 German songs. Ich liebe dich. And lead them in the scariest thing I ever did. And they were gracious. They sometimes giggled. And we're all ended, they go, ooh, you got that word wrong. But you see, when you hear God in those intimate moments, it gives you, that audacity and the strength to do what He's called you to do. And then lastly, what I would like to ask you all to start doing is to expect God is going to do something here every Sunday in your lives and the lives of others. Come expecting something to happen, and then agree that it will happen. Because again, I'm not trying to do some positive thinking, mumbo jumbo thing. All I'm saying is God is sitting right here. Every empty seat God is sitting in. Now I think He's saying there's too many seats for me here today. That's why, I think He's going to help us to grow this church. But the point is God's here. And we need to realize that and expect that when we come in. You know what? It's going to change the dynamic. If 40 of you come in expecting God to be here, you know what that's going to do for us corporately? We're going to draw the ones in who are having bad days. We're going to draw the ones in who don't even believe God. And you might have a bad morning, but you won't feel the pressure that I have to be the hand raiser today. We do. There's some of you who like to celebrate, and when you celebrate, nobody else is celebrating, you feel that pressure. Is everybody looking at me? I mean, we're human. So those two things, and then just, again, praying. We got to pray. You got to pray. There's some of you here right now who've been in God a long time, and you don't pray for anybody. You know what? You need to get up and pray for somebody. You have to. Otherwise, you're never going to see anything happen. You're going to be disillusioned. And it's better to be a little bit disappointed and disillusioned for doing what you're supposed to be doing as opposed to be disappointed and disillusioned for not doing anything, right? At least you have the right to be mad. And I would rather have the right to be mad than just to be sad, okay? I'm aggressive in that sense. So why don't we all stand?